The only report that I have is that I did receive an email pertaining to some compliance issues that need to be handled. They have been looked into and observed and will be taken care of.
For all of you that didn't hear, we did receive a couple of complaints in the mail, and they were turned over to the board and are being turned over to the Covenants Committee to be handled. Thank you. Doug, do you have a report?
Well, I didn't realize this was supposed to be our annual meeting, so I didn't bring a bunch of stuff, but I never want to miss an opportunity. Doug Foster, most of you probably know me because you've been at these meetings before. Architectural Control Committee, and Glenn Beckett, who's one of my members, and Ron Worth, another member on the committee, and would love to have anybody else that wants to be involved in the Architectural Control Committee. And all we do is we work with people that want to do things to the outside of their house or their property. Adding a whole bunch of new landscaping, painting your house, redoing your driveway. Last month we had somebody wanted to change their windows, but they were doing like for like, so that's no problem. We've got right now one addition that's going on Old Meadowbrook Circle. You may have seen it in the back of the community. Anything that would impact the community from a visual perspective, trying to protect all of the values of our homes. I mean, simple things like up in New Jersey, red homes are quite proper. Down here in Florida, red homes aren't too proper. So if somebody wanted to paint their home red, we would work with them to try to find a color that would be more appropriate. Things like that, just to keep the community keep the community nice. So I'd like to have some volunteers. You know where to find me if you would like to join the community, or the committee, excuse me. I think that probably we usually have about 5 new requests a month. We had a meeting about 3 weeks ago, and I, for some reason, haven't gotten any requests this month. But the work on the committee is not too arduous, because I run it with a pretty strong hand. So I'm not going to overwork anybody that might want to volunteer. Any questions for my committee? Okay, thank you.
Okay. I believe that will end the committee reports, and I will now turn the meeting over to Mr. DeBost.
Looks like you had 5 pre-nominated persons running for your 5-person board, and unless there's a nomination from the floor, which I'll accept now, if I'm hearing no nominations, then I will close the nominations, and we really aren't going to have an election because there's 5 people running for 5 spots. So with that, your new board members, or maybe you remain the same, is that all the same? Gail Anderson, Bill Bresden, Ernest Mdbk, Georgia Quinn, Phyllis Thomas. There are 2 other things. Well, there's, first of all, the next item is unfinished business. There is no unfinished business. After that, the other 2 items on your proxy, or if you have not already voted by proxy, your meeting ballot, are 2 questions, which are fairly standard questions that most associations have. The first one is vote to waive the statutory year-end reporting requirement for a CPA compilation. Based on the size of your budget, that's what the law requires unless you waive it down. So if you've already voted by proxy, that's fine. If you have not voted by proxy and you brought your proxy, you can vote the proxy. If you raise your hand, you can turn in your ballots. Oh, okay. Okay. So go ahead. And the second question is the year-end surplus rollover, which is an IRS tax issue, which is a very perfunctory action just to roll over the funds to next year's operating budget rather than return them to you. Most associations vote to roll over, so you can check that out as well. Okay. With that, takes care of the business portion of the meeting. While they do a quick count on the tally, we'll open up the floor now for questions or comments. Just raise your hand, state your name, your address. You have 3 minutes to talk on whatever you want. So whoever wants to go, just raise your hand.
Sure, I'll go.
Yes.
Are there any decisions that the board is permitted to make that's not in a publicly noticed board meeting? Did you hear that?
There's no such thing as a not publicly noticed board meeting. You have to have all board meetings noticed. Whether or not you have the right to attend is another issue. There are times when the board is allowed to notice a meeting and then tell you, the homeowners, you're not allowed to attend, and it's a closed meeting. Those circumstances are when the attorney is present to discuss proposed or pending litigation, lawsuit, attorney-client privilege things, personnel matters is a new one they added this year, and in an emergency, a true emergency. Doesn't mean they don't post the meeting. They have to just tell you can't go. There is another method to make a decision without a meeting, though. It's called consent in lieu of a meeting, written consent, and the board can, if it's unanimous, take action without a meeting by having written consent. It's not a recommended way to do business. I don't think you've ever done it that way, but it is possible.
So that means that all decisions have been made during meetings, correct?
No, well, certain decisions do not have to be made at board meetings. The day-to-day functioning operation of should we buy another table for the meeting, I believe in furtherance of just general policy can be made by the chief executive officer or the president telling the management company do this or do that. But substantive decisions like who to hire, who to fire, what contract to engage, what contract not to engage, things like that, those have to be made at board meetings. Okay. So not every little time they want to make a decision do they have to run and post a notice to say, should we allow this committee man to have his Christmas decorating party on a Saturday or a Sunday? I mean, they don't really need a meeting.
But really, if there's a vote between the board members, that should be during a meeting, correct?
Votes should be taken at meetings, yes.
Okay.
What are you referring to? Maybe he could be more plain.
Oh, I'm not referring to anything in particular. I'm just generally asking a question.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Questions? Not a question, actually, something that I'd like to discuss. My name is Mark Romano. I'm at 23466 Old, that's spelled with an E, Meadowbrook Circle. Tough enough to say that over the phone every day. And the board, thank you. This is something that we started last year, but it was never actually officially finished, and it's also something that was never really recorded in the minutes. Is there someone taking the minutes today? There is, thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my contention is that the sidewalks are a common element and not the responsibility of the homeowner. The board's contrary claim is baseless and not in keeping with Meadowbrook's documents. I just want to bring up just a few noted exceptions or actually supportive statements to what I'm about to say. In the documents that we all should have, and I'm sure every board member has in front of them, Article 1, Section 4 states that the common area shall mean all real property, including any recreational facilities, for the common use and enjoyment of the owners. Okay. Next, Article 2, Section 2, owner's easements of use. Every owner shall have the right and easement of enjoyment in and to the common area for its intended purpose. Next, Article 6, and this is Section 1. Maintenance of the common area shall be the responsibility of the association. The association's responsibility hereunder shall include the repair and maintenance of any landscaping, trees, shrubs, grass, sprinkler heads, and walks. Next, Article 7, Section 2. Each and every owner is strictly prohibited from improving, modifying, or maintaining any common area. Next.